A brand new Axios report revealing that the Harris campaign has been editing news headlines to make her look good. Now,
and they've been doing a terrible job at it.
We're told that the media outlets whose headlines have been butchered, basically changed, had no knowledge that this was going to happen or that it's been happening. This graphic from Axios shows great headlines for Harris within Google search ads. So when you Google, the fake stuff comes up instead of the actual headlines from outlets like the Associated Press.
So they steer you away from an actual ad onto a fake ad, and you're reading it makes her like, whew, yeah, she should be ashamed of herself. And her campaign, and anyone who did it should just go ahead and step down. She shouldn't even have to fire him, but if she had something to do with it, she should terminate the campaign. You cannot be running under these kind of conditions. And if you're a Kamala supporter and you believe that this really happened and you're still okay with it, then what are we all saying to? Are we all going to take Donald Trump approach? Because that's what everybody like, he did it, we can do. No, that ain't how it go. You know how we grew up. You know, your mama told you, you could come home and say, he did, are you him? Am I his mama? No, you know how that go. Come on. We was raised better than that. Kamala was raised better than that. When you choose after you have went into your own life as an adult to do things like this, you're no longer under the jurisdiction of your parents. It's on you, Kamala. You're running for president of the United States. You're a big girl, and you should know better than that. It's despicable, and I don't know if I want to associate myself with you on this campaign. I'd already had my reservations, but this is just another little thing for me to consider. In my, as a voter, where's my clipboard? As a voter, I've been just jotting down a lot of stuff lately and paying attention because you guys are slippery. I'm just scrolling and I hear this story pop up. Who in the hell would do that? Who would do it? Kamala's campaign.
And CBS News. However, these search results were purchased by the Harris campaign. So you got to look for the little sticker that says sponsored.
Yeah, that could be illegal, I think. You hacking into or basically misrepresenting that link that it should be going to maybe a campaign ad. I guess you're buying campaign ad space, when instead you're taking it to a fake story that speaks highly of Kamala. But anybody who follows politics on a regular basis and really pays attention will be able to see without a doubt that it's fake, because it's saying nice, wonderful stuff about her. And you know that there must not be any nice, wonderful stuff about her, or why would they have to fake it? See, all they have to do is put something true, but they couldn't even think of nothing. It's despicable.
Linked to real articles, but the campaign manipulated the headlines and descriptions to glow up Kamala. A source familiar with the Harris team is telling Axios that the campaign buys search ads with news links to give voters, quote, more context.
Yeah. See, that news story, it's going to just mislead you with stuff like the truth. You want to hear Kamala's side of that, because believe me, they're not going to tell you what she tell you. Oh my God.
The report also points out the Trump campaign is not running these types of ads. Kellyanne, we call it glow up, embellishment, whatever you want to call it.
Lying.
The media outlets say they didn't know.
Maybe, but either way, it's deceptive and gaslighting. The real point here...
Yeah, I guess I didn't even think about that. It'd be worse if the news outlet knew about it and was just cool with it because it was Kamala and this was going on, and they just got caught. And they try to play it off like, oh, we just discovered this. Because, God, it'd be like no one's proofreading or nobody's calling back saying, hey, I don't remember no story about Kamala already winning the election. Because who knows if she's going to do that kind of stuff. That's what she could do. She could put a story in saying she won when she really didn't win and mess all kind of stuff up. You know how that goes. Dangerous stuff.
For the viewers to appreciate is that the Harris campaign thinks they can get away with redoing media headlines and that the media won't mind. They treat the mainstream media, Harris, like a wholly owned subsidiary of the Harris-Walz campaign. They don't pursue them any more than they pursue loyal Democratic liberal voters. Why would you spend a dime chasing them? You've already got them.
Yeah, no, you're right. Kellyanne is right completely with what she's saying, but she's being disingenuous because Fox do that same kind of stuff. Hell, they would back up a conservative opponent just the way the liberal folks cover up for Kamala, and we know how it goes. Ain't no big old deal. Those are the easy facts and the easy stuff that we know about. But there are some more complex issues that we will embark on as we move forward.
That's the way they're treating the media, whether it's refusing to sit down for any kind of interviews, taking any kind of easy or hard question while she's on the wing on the plane, or just taking to the podium. But this is manipulation of the American mind. Most of the headlines already favor her. Time magazine just put her on the cover, and the most important piece of the entire cover story about Kamala Harris, quote, her movement, redefining Kamala Harris is, quote, the Kamala Harris campaign refused to make her available for an interview. She's not participating in global...
Yeah, she ain't participating in this campaign on the terms of the American people. And what, especially with Biden, it's not that she was in this thing for the long haul. This just, we had a little thing happen and something changed. And she needed to act that way. But start being more out front. Start giving up those interviews. Start speaking to your articulate, clear-headed lady. And if you guys really did a wonderful job this last 3.5 years, you should be able to talk at length. You should.
Profiles about her. So this was the next stage in that repertoire, which is take a headline, manipulate it, and make it look like it's news, not opinion. Make it look like it's facts and figures, not a run-of-the-mill paid political ad. If I were those outlets, I would do one thing. We are no longer going to cover your rallies, your speeches, nothing, your schedule, until you sit down for an interview.
There you go.
You apologize for this, you take them down, and you put out a public statement. Her first interview should just be a public statement straight to camera. We screwed up. This is, I don't know if it's illegal, but it certainly is unethical.
Yeah, so it doesn't break with Google's search engine platform, just so you know, because it says that you can clearly see the sponsored ad, marking on the page that they've messed with. So that's supposed to do it. But we know how quickly people are scrolling and clicking, Emily. I said on the Focus, I don't know if that's enough to get people's attention. I mean, if it's fake, you ought to mark it fake or misinformation. Remember how they went after people who had simple questions?
Yeah, that's important stuff right there that she's saying. And apparently Kamala Harris and her crew thought it was better to steal ad space and alter facts. Because that's just, I don't know, it should be a little more serious than what they're kind of talking about it in a way that's a little more relaxed than I feel. It seems pretty serious.
About COVID, and I was one of them. You get marked, you get stickered, you got to make it bold.
Yes, you must be reading my mind, because that's exactly what I was thinking. How the delicacy, the subtlety of the sponsored tag here is in such stark contrast to the blatant removals of posts where people dare to ask questions. In fact, it's still going on with people who aren't even asking questions. They're saying something unrelated. They've mentioned something that in the big constellation could be tied back to a topic or a point that the humans behind the algorithms deemed unacceptable to them, and that's why it's removed. So everyday average Americans, veterans, active duty military, people in law enforcement, people who dare to vote for Trump, everyone who is just trying to get along here, they're the ones that are being suppressed and wiped away, and yet here, blatant manipulation. Could you imagine if Donald Trump had done this with his campaign? Could you?
Every time something happened, one of the other sides say, if this was us, look what would happen to them, and look at it. They're both right. They both go too hard. It's ridiculous. Ultimately, the country is supposed to be run so the people in it can have a quality of life, and these people are fighting over something that we ain't sure about, but it's something.
Imagine if there was even one slight purchase of an ad with the then rewriting of the headline, the uproar that we would be subjected to. And here, you're right. Not only do they know they can get away with it with the media, but they know that they can get away with it with the liberal voters. And that is...
Now, that's how the liberal voters feel about you guys and Trump. So that's kind of par for the course. Whenever he does something, it doesn't seem to upset you guys. I feel that... anybody who's really a serious voter and you find out that your candidate did something like this, or something dishonest or immoral, yeah, it would weigh in on my vibe and probably make me not want to support them as much, because I'd be wondering what other kind of underhanded, sneaky things have they done, or is this the one thing that they did? It's pretty unlikely.
The saddest part.
Doctor.
I want to put my attention on something different, which is what is news to begin with? They're outraged now because this is being made into ads. What exactly is news? I remember the first op-ed I ever wrote for the New York Times, and I've written for many papers around the country, as you know. And I tried to criticize something that was on the front page, and they said, no, doctor, op-ed means the page across from editorial, not that you can disagree with anybody. So that's now devolved into a situation where newspapers are pundits, essentially, where they come out rooting for somebody, and that entire left-wing media...
Yeah, like you guys, and CNN, and MSNBC, and all that. And people, if you ever tune into Black Popcorn and you see Fox News up, or if you see CNN up, that's not a representation of who I am, but the stories sometimes are compelling, and sometimes are the stories I choose to use from any news outlet. But I am not a liberal or a conservative when it comes to my news and my sources. But this story here, and Harris Faulkner, I think she's a good journalist. I like her. I think that she's a little disgusted with Kamala as well. A lot of us African Americans are. She's just not giving us a good showing. Obama did, and then he just got in there and ignored us. That was his downfall. But well, and there'll be another one like that, and we all paying attention, so we damn sure won't be another one like that. That's no way. Can't let that happen again.
Is rooting for Harris, and that is what Trump is against.
When they're complicit, then, to Kellyanne's point, I mean, they're taken for granted. So when these media outlets don't come out and say, look, we didn't know, and they have talked to Fox News Digital and said they didn't know that this was happening or that it had happening, well, where is that next line, what Kellyanne was talking about in terms of, it's not acceptable, and we don't want to give you any more coverage until we have access to the candidate. Where is that?
That's a good one. She's avoiding the press, and she's out doing little manipulating of ads, try to help herself in people's minds falsely. Yeah, that's not good at all. Not good at all.
Part, because that must be oppositional, like you were when you wanted to, disagree with something on the front page.
They're not. He doth protest too much. I mean, they're protesting. But Mike, right, your point is exactly right. They're not protesting enough. But the second point is, what are these headlines to begin with that are being used to be distorted in this situation?
Well, they're all glowing.
They're all glowing, and they shouldn't write headlines that somebody can even use in a campaign.
Yeah, what could they possibly have been saying in that headline that she was able to switch her positiveness into it? There's some weird stuff there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, Axios said this makes it appear like media outlets are on the side of Kamala Harris. They are on the side of Kamala Harris. All you have to do is go and read the homepages of CNN, NBC, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and you guys have your media outlets. We know how it runs. So it's not like you guys are reporting the news fairly and equally, and she's just running to the left. We know how it goes. Be honest about it. Kellyanne, or who is that, McEnany?
This has happened to a dozen outlets since August 3rd. So these are the outlets it's happened to. The Independent UK, NPR, AP, The Guardian, USA Today, PBS, CNN, CBS News, Time Magazine.
That's a lot. Yeah, they said Google ads. I thought it was different than what I'm hearing now. It's a lot. Yikes.
Statements in reaction have been mild. The only one I could find was the one from The Guardian that put together a few sentences about this. The Guardian, and I just was laughing as I read this. While we understand why an organization might wish to align itself with The Guardian's trusted brand, we need to ensure it's being used appropriately. The Guardian's trusted brand yesterday put out an opinion piece by an ex-Twitter executive suggesting that Elon Musk should be arrested for hosting Donald Trump. So that's The Guardian's trusted brand, right? You want to be a trusted brand? All 12 of these outlets should come together in outrage and issue a joint statement saying this is unhealthy for democracy, it's unhealthy for journalism, it's unhealthy for the media. Anything short of that is complicity in Kamala Harris's attempt to deceive America They're the liberal media, folks. If you needed more proof, just look at the X.
Why are they doctoring headlines that say Kamala's been graded as a border czar?
Because it's not
Inflation's
enough.
way.
Yeah, airline said she's been great. Now that was dumb. Everybody know how bad she was as a border czar, and then she put a headline, a fake headline, and say Kamala Harris was a good border czar. That'd be the dumbest thing in the world you could do.
Down. She's going to get us out of
It's
Ukraine
not
and
enough.
Israel. Well, it's also not true.
Because those unearthed videos
You
keep
know what,
floating
I
to the
think
top of the
these-
feed when you search.
And we all know there's only one Harris around here that we trust.
That was kind of a racial little thing, I think. I don't like that. There's only one little Harris that we, well, just say, why just should I say her? I don't like the way that. Never mind.
Tell us the truth. But Harris, seriously speaking, I think that these headlines being doctored is the same sign of the times as of Kamala Harris as the candidate in the first place. Just make them whatever you need them to be.
That's it.
Everything is just.
Yeah, up or, like you're on the Soul Train scramble board or something. You're just switching words around till they say what you want it to say or what they think it's supposed to say. But in this case, this is really despicable, though. It really is. And like I said, I'm in a position where whichever candidate seems more responsive to us is where I'm going probably if I felt like getting up voting that day. But Kamala Harris, I would not go extra mile above her. She's too deceitful. She ain't telling the truth about anything.
Existential and equivalent. Whatever you need that to be, whatever I need her to be, I'm just going to slap on her regardless of her record and her attributes and her skills. And the same thing with these headlines. Whatever you need them to be, it's fine. Nobody will notice.
I find it hard to believe that, first of all, The Guardian had an op-ed, and they can have that, but not to push back when your own words are manipulated just seems more than complicit. It's weak. And I do question the idea, are they just trying to ingratiate themselves by not being too difficult in this moment so they can get a sit down with Kamala?
I think
Well, they're not gonna, because she's not sitting down with anybody. But I would be upset too. Those are your newest headlines, and you have integrity, and your readers want to read what you wrote, not what Kamala and them wrote.
they think we're stupid.
Yep.
Oh, gosh. Let's hope that's not it.
Yeah, that's a great little story. Like I said, it's just information, and we got a long way to go in this political season. So take that with a grain of salt. Look into it. There's a few different versions of it out there. They all are pretty close, though. I haven't heard too much of them deviate. So with that, guys, we're going to bring this one to the close, and we will see you on the next episode of Black Popcorn. Share, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.